Financial distress and inflation have the power to change the course of history.
Investors think more price increases are coming. By the Fed's count of inflation expectations, prices will have risen an additional 6.8% by the summer of 2023.
It is going to be very challenging. It has been made significantly more challenging by the events of the last few months.
Stocks are falling, how currencies are losing value, fuel is becoming more valuable, prices of basic commodities are going up.
There are a lot of videos on the internet about inflation and the ongoing turmoil in the markets. But what is actually happening to our money? Why is it falling in value? How come the dollar remained relatively stable in such markets? Wait, what? The dollar started this mess in the first place. In this video, we are going to analyze why is US responsible for the rising inflation in the world? What can an emerging economy like India do to safeguard itself? What might the future hold? If you want to skip to a particular topic, the timestamps are given in the description below. The value of our currency is fluctuating like crazy, and so are other currencies around the world. Let's look at some of the currencies. Here is the chart of M1 money supply. Just like you have a bank account where you keep your money, the nations too have an account of sorts where they can keep the paper money. This is the liquid money a nation has to itself. In hard times, when a developed nation requires money, they can simply print more. And that is exactly what the US has been doing since 2020. Here is the graph showing the amount of money that has been infused in the US markets. Here in this graph, we can see that the amount of money has increased almost 5 times since 2020. That means a lot of cash has been printed and infused into the markets. A quick look at the money supply graph in UK reveals the same. It has increased by nearly 30 to 40%. Same is the trend with India. But in all these graphs, you can see that the US has printed the most amount of money. So ideally, the value of dollar should have gone down the most, because the laws of economics says if the supply goes up, the demand goes down. But the strength of the dollar has gone down relatively very less compared to other currencies. To understand why this happened, you need to know how the world takes debts and the US uses it to their own advantage. You can see that the debt is going on increasing. The graph is not of a country-specific debt, but it is indicative of the collective loans taken by the whole world. Now, this debt is being taken up in US dollars, which you can say is the reserve currency of the world. In simple terms, most countries prefer to do business or take up loans in US dollars rather than any other currency. As the central bank of US has the complete control over the dollar, this gives them immense powers over the world economy and finances. If you would like to know how the dollar became so powerful to begin with, let me know in the comments box and I'll be happy to make a video on that interesting topic. What the US is doing is actually refinancing its own debts. To give you a simple example, suppose India needs to buy oil from the Arabs. Now Arabs have a deal with US which allows them to sell their oil only in US dollars. So if India needs to buy oil from the Arabs, she will have to take a loan from the US government, even though it did not need the loan in the first place. If the US needs to buy this oil and it does not have enough dollars, theoretically it can print more dollars and pay it to the Saudis. So you see how a country can exercise its immense powers over the world just because it has control over the most dominant currency. Now the question arises, how is this a problem for other people like us? You have been hearing all over the news that the debt is going up. How this affects the common people and the investors? It simply means the risks in the economy are going up. Imagine a bank has to give a loan of 1 lakh rupees. Now due to increased cash flow in the bank is forced to give a loan of 10 lakh rupees. Which one do you think is more riskier? Giving a loan of 1 lakh or giving a loan of 10 lakhs? Obviously, giving a loan of 10 lakhs is more riskier. So the bank will look for reliable customers to give the loan. So I hope now you understand in very simple terms that if the amount of money in an economy increases, the risks associated with that money also increase. If you're enjoying the content so far, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. That will help me reach out to more people and impact them with these kinds of videos. Let's come back to the video. With the heightened risks in the economy, the Feds are hiking the interest rates. Now, how come a federal agency hiking the interest rates in another continent going to affect you? Imagine PP is an investor from the US and she took $1 million at 2% interest from a US bank, converted it into rupees, which is almost 8.2 crores, and invested that money in the markets in India, which are returning about 4% interest. After 1 year, the markets will return PP 8.32 crores, which is approximately $1.4 million, provided the exchange rate remains the same. Now she will return $1.02 million to the bank and pocket the rest of the money. So you see, just by rotating the money and taking advantage of the difference in interest rates, PP, a foreign investor, was able to make money. When the interest rates are hiked by 1%, PP can get the loan from US at 3%, which makes her profit margins very thin to even begin the trade with. On top of that, imagine the value of rupee depreciating from 80 to 82 rupees. That means after 1 year, her principal amount has become $1.01 million after receiving the interest, and she has to return $1.3 million to the bank. She actually has incurred a loss. It is for this reason most foreign investors are pulling out their money from emerging markets like India and they are stashing it with the stable markets like US, which is actually strengthening the dollar in times of such crises. When thousands of foreign investors pull out money, the value of rupee depreciates and this vicious cycle continues. The investors then park this money with the US government, which is actually strengthening the dollar, and the other currencies are taking a beating. So the country which caused this problem in the first place is actually suffering the least. One might wonder why the other countries allow it. Well, the BRICS nations are trying to come up with a currency of their own, which was announced by President Putin a while back. But building something like this, although theoretically possible, is very difficult to do. Europe already has a system like this, Euro. But we all know that one country which tries to exercise its dominance over the other countries. Let me know in the comments box which country I'm talking about. So creating another dominant currency is not going to happen anytime soon, and as long as it does not happen, US is going to keep playing money heist with the world. The central bank India is also trying to jack up the interest rates here to stop the rupee from sliding further. India is also in talks with other countries to set up a rupee payment system which would end the dominance over the dollar. Well folks, in spite of saying so much, I have barely scratched the surface of the finance world and the games that US plays on the world economy. If you like this video, you know what to do. Thank you. Bye bye.